Sabbath peace.
Sabbath peace.
It's another opportunity for us to come together and hear and learn of the word of truth that's given to us by the Most High God. All honor goes to the Father through the Son, whose name is Yahushua. In him lies the only hope for salvation. We know that it is obtained by grace through faith, but not of works, lest anyone should boast, and given freely as a gift to all who obey him. We understand that if we do not obey him, it is made manifest or made obvious that we do not believe. In this state, we should expect no good things from the Most High. However, anything that we do get, whether it be a gift of tongues, a gift of prophecy, or any supernatural experience that we may have, it can and it will be used against us in the day of judgment. With that said, peace to the saints that are in the room, to the saints that couldn't make it, but no peace to the wicked. The only thing we say to them is repent that they might live. Right? Where we leave off last week?
In Leviticus, the sacrifices.
We talked about the sacrifices last week. What else?
The offerings and the washing of the water. A little bit of. I don't think we didn't talk about the diet, huh?
Yep, we did.
We did.
We walked through the diet. Talked about offerings, the different types of offerings. We didn't get through all of them, so we're gonna start off this week with the rest of the offering types. We went through, what were the offering types that y'all remember? The categories.
Burnt offering.
You got the burnt offering. What else?
Peace offering.
You got the gift offering, the peace offering, right?
Free will offering.
I'm sorry, wait. The gift offering, is the gift offering and the peace offering the same thing?
No, you got the free will offering.
Yeah, what's another name for the gift offering?
Gift offering is a meat offering.
The meat offering, right? So you got the meat offering, you got the burnt offering, you got the peace offering. Those are the ones we talked about last week. So now we're going to start off this week and we're going to talk a little bit about the sin offering. The ones that we didn't go over was the sin offering and the, let me fix my screens here. The ones we didn't go over was the sin offering and the trespass offering. Let me see here. You gonna tell them kids to be quiet?
Can you tell TJ I said come here? TJ! Yeah. Come here.
You're not finished eating?
What did I just say?
Eating what?
You're gonna get in trouble.
Huh?
Hurry up.
Look at me when I'm talking.
Alrighty, where is it? Monitor, automatic. We want to put it on the high sense. Cool. Alrighty, let's see. Now let's talk about the sin offering. Is it going to show up where it's supposed to?
I got that. They can hear me, huh?
They definitely can hear you.
Yeah, he said he was eating.
Why everything going wrong right now? Let's see here. Boom, boom. Boom. Okay. Alrighty. So these are the sin offerings that the Most High God set up for us. So it's like two sets of sin offerings that we're gonna go over. So the first sin offering that the Most High God talked to us about is when the priest himself sins, right? When the priest sins, or when a priest sins, the priest himself has to bring a young bull to the door of the tabernacle and he has to kill it. Then from there, the priest, not the priest of sins, the priest that's on duty, they then sprinkle the blood 7 times before the veil of the sanctuary. They put the blood on the horns of the altar and incense. So you can see already this one's a little different, right? They put the blood on the horns of the altar of the incense. They pour the rest of the blood at the bottom of the altar where the burnt offering is. They burn the bull just like the peace offering of the herd, right? And then the rest of the bull is taken outside the camp. So you know the peace offering, remember, not everything was burnt. What pieces were kept?
The shoulder and the I forgot the shoulder and shoulder
and the breast was kept for the priest, right?
Yeah.
And then everything else went back to the people. Remember? So the only thing that was burnt up for a peace offering was the stomach, the stuff on the inside, and the fat. Right?
And the legs, right?
Nope, not the legs.
Chop the legs off.
No, not the legs. Everything
What you do
else.
with the legs?
You can keep the legs. For the peace offering, you keep the legs. You know what I'm saying? If you're doing it with a lamb, then you cut off the butt. You know what I'm saying? So you got to cut off the rump. But everything else, you keep, right? And then the priest would keep the breast and the shoulder. So this is just like the peace offering in terms of what's burnt. But the difference is, instead of keeping everything else, the rest of it is taken outside the camp where all the ashes was poured. So what we would do is, every day we burning stuff. Remember the fire, Most High God said that fire can't go out. The fire got to be constant. You know what I'm saying? So we got to keep that fire going constantly, right? Then every day you're going to have a whole bunch of ashes with a fire that keeps on going. So every day we got to take the ashes outside the camp and dump them. So he's saying the same place that you dumping those ashes, you have to take the rest of that bull and burn it there. So you have to take the rest of the bull and you burn it outside the camp with the ashes. Yeah. Then you have the sin of the congregation. So with the sin of the congregation, this would be some type of sin that impacts the entire congregation, right? When you have the sin of the congregation, then the elders have to bring the bull to the door. And outside of that, it's pretty much the exact same thing that we just read, right? Then you have the sin of the ruler. So you have a king or somebody who's ruling the people, a judge over the people or something of that nature. When you have the sin of the ruler, it's similar in that you put blood on the horns of the altar of the incense. You pour the rest of the blood at the bottom of the altar in the burnt offering. Burn the bull just like a peace offering of the goat, because you got to bring a goat in this situation. And then after that, the remainder of it belongs to the priest, but it has to be eaten in the holy place, the book said. All right? Any questions on these? So this is how you handle the leadership. Let me see here. So the next thing we have is dealing with the common people, right? So when you're dealing with the common people, if a person sins, right, because this is the sin offering, right? So if a person sins,
TJ.
they bring a kid or the goat or the lamb, and it can be male or female. I mean, no, I'm sorry. It has a kid or the goat or the lamb. It has to be female. Can't have any blemish on it. You got to kill it in front of the tabernacle. You put blood on the horns of the altar of incense. Pour out the rest of the blood at the bottom of the altar of the burnt offering. You burn the bull just like the peace offering of the goat or the lamb, and then the remainder of it belongs to the priest, but they have to eat it that day, right? Then if you're unable to bring something of the flock, right? So you ain't got no lamb, you ain't got no goat, so you ain't got nothing to bring of the flock. In that situation, then you can bring 2 turtle doves and 2 pigeons. When you bring 2, they're split into 2 different offerings, right? So the first thing you got to do is a sin offering. The way the sin offering works, you wring off the head, much like what we saw with the burnt offering. You wring off the head, sprinkle the blood at the side of the altar, and then you pour the rest of it at the bottom of the altar. And then after that, you do a burnt offering with the second according to the burnt offering of the birds, right? So just like you would do a burnt offering with the birds, right? So that would be if you can't bring something of the flock. Then the last one is if you can't even bring something, like you ain't got no birds or the flock, then you can pretty much do something similar to a meat offering. So in that case, you bring the 10th part of an ephah, that's a measurement, of fine flour without oil or frankincense, and then you have to burn a handful of the fine flour, and the rest of it belongs to the priest. So what do we see about the sin offering so far? What is something that we notice about it?
Now pour the blood at the bottom of the altar. And then the priest got to eat it in the holy place.
The priests eat off of the sin offering. Mm-hmm. So far, what are the offerings that the priests eat off of?
You got the sin offering, and then you got the...
You got the meat offering, the gift offering. What else? The sin offering.
The free will offering.
And the peace offering. Right? The only one that they don't eat is the pure burnt offering. Everything else they eating off of. So that means if somebody sin, guess who get to eat? If somebody just want to do something nice, you know what I'm saying? We gonna get into it, but if somebody just want to do something nice, they want to eat meat tonight too, right? Guess who get to eat? So you can see the economy that the Most High God is setting up is taking care of the priest just by nature of the law, right? It's important to see that as we read through these laws, because that's you'll see the Most High God is structuring an economy that takes care of itself, right? Where people will take care of one another. You'll see as we start to get into more of our laws, even what we read in Exodus, that's what our law is about, is taking care of one another, making sure we're looking out for one another. You know what I'm saying? And it continues even with the priesthood. So he makes it that, oh yeah, although this was a bad thing and this person is going to be punished for this, as long as they're not punished to death for it, then they have an opportunity to make a sacrifice. And when they make that sacrifice, that's going to help feed the priest who's taking care of the people. So it's like this circle, you know what I'm saying? You know, Lion King called the circle of life. That's what it is, right? So now the next set of sins we're dealing with would be the trespass offering. Trespass is just like a sin, right? But let's take a look at it. So if you have a trespass that's unknowing, right? So unknowing, you know what I'm saying? Something that you did it and you didn't find out that you messed up until later, right? A lot of people think Most High God give you a pass. That's how the Christians think. The Christians think, well, you know, you might be sinning and you don't even know about it. They look at that and see it ain't my fault. God ain't tripping on that stuff. That's how they talk. God ain't worried about that stuff. Let me tell you something, brother. God knew you was going to do that before you even knew who you was. All right? He knew he was going to send your butt right to hell, too. Right? Even if you find out you did a sin. Matter of fact, if we read it, he'd tell you just like that. He said, if you look up and you find out, you know what I'm saying? In the moment that you find out, this is what you need to do.
You better run your butt to make it right.
So this is what happened if you did it and you didn't know you were doing it at the time. It was an accident. This would be a legitimate accident. Didn't know I was doing it. Let's see if it stopped God from telling you to do this. He said, bring a ram without blemish and kill it. Bring the estimation of silver, right? This is dealing with any restitution, right? So whatever you, whatever it is, whatever your sin impacted, whatever value it impacted, you have to estimate that in silver. And then you add a fifth part to it, right? So let's say I did $100 worth of damage, right? And you know what I'm saying? Let's say I did 100 pieces of silver worth of damage.
You gotta put an extra 20 on that thing.
I gotta put an extra dub on that. So now I gotta give 120 in my silver, right? Then after that, you bring that to the priest. The priest is gonna sprinkle the blood around the altar of the ram. He gonna burn the whole rump and all the fat, the 2 kidneys and the caul, and then the remainder of it gonna belong to the priest, but it has to be eaten in the holy place. So it's much like the sin offering, right? Then any knowingly, you know what I'm saying, any sin that was knowingly committed, you bring the ram without blemish and you kill it. You bring the estimation of silver, 1/5. You know what I'm saying? And then, yeah, so it's the same thing. Yeah, you in this case, you're doing the same thing. You're going to make amends, bring the 5th, you know what I'm saying? And that's how you set it up. So these are all of the types of sacrifices. Any other sacrifice, as we read through the scripture, you know what I'm saying? I almost want to get us like, you know what I'm saying, little flashcards or something. Because it'd be nice to when we see it, we say, okay, that's a burnt offering, and he told them to bring a ram, right? Because we're going to start noticing, now that we're familiar with the sacrifices, you're going to see that he calls it out. He don't tell them exactly what to do. He just going to say, bring a burnt offering of a ram. Well, we know the rules. If you got a ram and a burnt offering, ram is of the flock. So these are the rules for a burnt offering of the flock, right? Oh, bring a burnt offering and a bull. Okay, boom. I know what they doing. A burnt offering, the priest ain't eating nothing. Okay, bring a peace offering. Oh, priest eating tonight. Right? We'll start to understand what's happening and why he's asking for certain things. Because we're about to get into
Numbers.
Huh?
Numbers.
Not yet, but we're about to get into what is it? Leprosy. And we're gonna see with leprosy, to get over leprosy, you have to do a number of these sacrifices. It's not just 1 or 2. You gotta do this one, and that one. You know what I'm saying? So he mixed together a bunch of them of different types. So as we see it, it'd be nice for us to kind of have something to reference back to. Okay, this is what you're doing. Pull out a little flashcard, and then we can kind of look at it and be like, okay, these are the steps that must be taken. You know what I'm saying? So I'll probably put something together next week. All right, everything clear as mud on that? Where we leave off last week?
It was Leviticus 32.
Leviticus what?
32.
No way.
We finished 32.
Leviticus verse 32?
Leviticus probably 11 maybe. I guess we finished 11.
Yeah, it would have been
12?
11.
11 or 12. Because I only think Leviticus goes to 32.
No.
Yeah. We finished 11.
Finish 11. So this Leviticus 12. This should start talking about. We should start getting to cleanliness, right? Now we gotten past the sacrifices. Then we got into what's clean to eat. What? Now we get into different types of cleanliness. So we're gonna talk about human beings and how, you know what I'm saying, what's clean.
Cleanliness.
Right? Then after that, we're gonna get into leprosy. You know what I'm saying? Do a couple of chapters on that. We probably won't get past that today because leprosy is long. You know what I'm saying? You got 2 chapters long that go into leprosy. A lot of detail to go over in there. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. We'll probably won't get past that. But then you want to go back past that. Then it goes back into like just human beings and how we can be unclean and the stuff that can happen within us to make us unclean and all that. So that's what this section of the law is talking about. How to be clean and unclean and how to separate clean from unclean. This is Leviticus chapter 12, verse 1.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel. If a woman has conceived a seed and born a man-child, then she shall be unclean 7 days, according to the days of the separation for her infirmity, shall she be unclean.
So look, books say if a woman has a boy, you know what I'm saying? You know how they be having a baby shower, it's like, it's a boy, you know what I'm saying? The gender reveal. If that thing say it's a boy, once she has the baby, what in the world happened here? I don't know what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? My household they just do whatever they want to do in this darn house. I ain't never seen nothing like this. Excuse me. So, you know what I'm saying? That gender reveal say it's a boy. Once she had that baby, books say 7 days, she unclean. Right? Then, what's next?
And in the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised.
Then the boy got to be circumcised on the 8th day. Where did we get that from?
Genesis, Abraham.
Genesis. Remember, that was the covenant that the Most High God made with Abraham. Right? Then what?
And she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 33 days.
Right? So then she got to wait 33 days in continuation. Right? And then after that, she has an opportunity to be clean again. Watch this.
She shall touch no hallowed thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purifying be fulfilled. But if she bear a maid child.
If she bears a woman or a girl, right? So the gender reveal got little pink balloons that get popped. And then, you know what I'm saying, the little pink confetti come out. Or, you know what I'm saying? Her little sister, she did a little thing. What she do? She did a little burnout. You know what I'm saying? Corey did that same thing. He did a little burnout. And then the color. So you do skid marks all over my darn street, right? And then you do like this. Look, you do the little skid mark. You know what I'm saying? Skid marks there for the next 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? But look, you do skid marks just like this. And I think, and then the smoke start coming out. It ain't like regular smoke. The smoke start coming out the color that represents, you know what I'm saying, the gender of the baby. You know what I'm saying? Your sister had what, a boy?
A girl.
She had a girl. So hers was pink, right? So for a maid child, let's see how long she would have been unclean.
Then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in her separation.
So now it's 2 weeks, right? Watch this.
And she shall continue in the blood of her purifying 66 days.
Right? So that's 66 days. Right? So she's 2 weeks, so it's double the boy. Right? 2 weeks.
Double for the girl.
But it's double of the boy. Right? Keep going.
And when the days of her purifying are fulfilled for a son or for a daughter, she shall bring a lamb of the first year for a burnt offering.
For a what?
A burnt offering.
Right? So we got a burnt offering for a lamb. So what rule set would that go under?
Of the flock.
That would be a burnt offering of the flock. Right? Keep going.
And a young pigeon or a turtle dove for a sin offering.
Now we got also a sin offering. Now, why in the world would she need a sin offering just for having a baby?
If she unclean where the tabernacle is.
Unclean is a sin. It don't matter how, the Most High God ain't looking at, it ain't your fault. No, the facts are the facts. You're unclean. And if you're unclean, that's a sin. You're a sinner. You're defiled. Don't touch the sanctuary. Anything you touch is unclean too. I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feeling. This ain't, you know what I'm saying? This ain't nothing personal. These are just facts. People see, the problem is when people look at this stuff, they look at it and they start taking stuff personal. Like, what you mean? Just a woman has to have a baby and you mean to tell me that she's unclean? Don't nobody care nothing about your feelings, honestly. I just don't. The facts are the facts. You put on clothes yesterday. What happened when you put them on?
They get dirty.
And what you gonna have to do to them?
Wash them.
So shut your darn mouth. I don't want to talk. Most of God giving you the same maintenance you put on. Should your clothes have hurt feelings? It ain't my fault you put me on. I was protecting you from the elements of the world. What if your clothes just got up and started talking back to you like, I don't want to get in the washer? Can you imagine that? Most of God looking at you, get your dirty butt in there. What's wrong with you? Make the darn sacrifice, you darn sinner. People look at sin as if most of the time when we talk about sin, it's because we did something wrong. Right? And when I say wrong, it's like the modern sense of what we think of as morality. Right? We made a decision. You know what I'm saying? That could have been avoided. Right? Well, you look at something like giving birth to a baby, it's like, well, God, you want me to have a baby. You told me to replenish the earth. That's a situation that really can't be avoided. And I'm a sinner because of that? I got to make a sin offering because of that? And we look at that like, oh, well, instead of looking at it as, well, the facts are the facts. You unclean. But I'm giving you a way out. I'm giving you a way to clean yourself up. Wait this amount of time. After you wait that amount of time, go ahead and make this sacrifice. You be all right. Right? That's what we're looking at for the rest, or not the rest of the chapter, but for the next few chapters that we look. That's the mindset that we got to have when we're looking at this. Right? The facts are the facts. It's nothing personal. The facts are there's certain stuff that is deemed unclean. And when it's deemed unclean, we have a way to get around it. Right? So she got to bring a burnt offering of the flock and a sin offering of the fowls, of the birds. Right? Keep going.
And a young pigeon or a turtle dove for a sin offering unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation unto the priest, who shall offer it before the Lord and make it atonement for her, and she shall be cleansed from the issue of her blood. This is the law for her that has borne a male or a female. And if she be not able to bring a lamb, then she shall bring 2 turtles or 2 young pigeons, the one for the burnt offering and the other for a sin offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for her, and she shall be clean.
That's into 12. Now let's jump over into 13. Now we get into leprosy.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying,
We got to pay attention here. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, buddy.
It's a lot going on here. It's important that we visualize it. I wish, you know what I'm saying, I wish we could act this thing out so we can kind of see it. You know what I'm saying? One day I'm going to get somebody that can be able to put some graphics there so we can visualize this stuff. Because it's important to be able to see this stuff in your brain. Right? That's how you retain it. You got to see it. You got to be there. Right? That's why I try to be so descriptive and kind of put us in the mindset of the people, because that's how you retain this stuff, man. You got to be there. Right? You got to be there. Let's see. Keep going.
When a man shall have in the skin of his flesh a rising, a scab, or a bright spot, and it be in the skin of his flesh like the plague of leprosy.
That's right.
Then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons the priests. And the priest shall look on the plague in the skin of the flesh, and when the hair in the plague is turned white, and the plague in sight be deeper than the skin of his flesh, it is a plague of leprosy, and the priest shall look on him and pronounce him unclean.
Right? So now if you got this leprosy, you know what I'm saying? First, you got to suspect it. So somebody going to see something on you, or you going to see something on yourself. Then the next thing you got to do is you got to go to the priest. Either Aaron or one of his sons, right?
Got to take that test.
Look, this is what we're about to get into. You'll see. So then you go. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to show y'all where these people got this stuff from. So then you go and then you got this spot on you. Now the priest gonna look at it and he gonna say, okay, is the spot white? Because remember, we black. Right? So now you got this white spot, you know what I'm saying, coming up on this black Israelite, you know what I'm saying, on his skin. He comes out, and it's like, man, you got a white spot. So then the next thing you ask is, well, did the hair turn blonde? Right? Okay. Let's see what the priest do. He got to evaluate that thing.
And when the hair,
So now the priest is playing a role of what right now?
like a doctor.
He's playing a role of a doctor at this point. It's important to understand the roles that the priest plays. The priest plays a lot of roles, right? So it's important to see the roles that the priest plays. Watch this.
And when the hair in the plague is turned white, and the plague in sight be deeper than the skin of his flesh, it is a plague of leprosy, and the priest shall look on him and pronounce him unclean. Mm-hmm. If the bright spot be
And he
white,
said deeper than his flesh. So when he look at it, and it's looking like, oh, there ain't no top layer of skin there. That thing look like it's going down. Oh, that's a plague of leprosy. Right? Keep going. Watch this. He's teaching them how to identify it.
if the bright spot be white in the skin of his flesh, and in the sight be not deeper than the skin, then the hair thereof be not turned white, then the priest shall shut him up that he has plague that hath the plague 7 days. Mm-hmm. And the priest shall look on him the 7th day, and behold, if the plague in his sight be at a stay, and the plague spread not in the skin, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days more.
Right? So listen, this is what happened. Priest looked at his arm. He saw the arm, he was like, oh, no, that thing deeper than the skin. And the little hair, you got a little hair, that turned white in that same spot. That's a leprosy. You got to get your butt, lock him in there 7 days. So he quarantined him, right? For how many days?
7 days.
How many days they quarantine you when you got COVID?
10. Like 4 now, but
When they first started, how long was it? Huh? 14 days, wasn't it? Okay. So now you lock him in there 7 days according to the priest. After 7 days, what happened?
and the bright spot be white in the skin of his flesh, and the sight be not deeper than the skin.
So he come back and he got to check it again. And if he look at it again, and it's the same spot, but it didn't spread, what happened?
Oh, and if the priest shall look on him the 7th day, and behold, if the plague in his sight be at a stay, and the plague spread not in the skin, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days more.
No. The priest just let him go after 7 days, right?
You shut him up 7 days more.
You got to get back in there another 7 days. That's where they got this stuff from. Everything they get, they out here guessing. They don't know nothing about this darn. They out here taking darn guesses. So you know what they did? They looked at it, they said, what the Israelites do? They said 14 days. All right, let's just start with 14 days. I mean, it's just a good even number. Let's just start that way. That's a good place to start. There's a whole lot of other stuff you should be copying from it. Right. Might clean the thing up if you copy well enough. That's what the law's supposed to do for us. We get to Deuteronomy, most our God gonna say, man, listen, they gonna come around and y'all be like, what land is so darn righteous? Law so darn wise. All we gotta do is stand on it. Keep going, watch this. So if that thing didn't spread, you still got to go back in there another 7 days. That'd be a total of 14 days. Then what?
And the priest shall look on him again the 7th day, and behold, if the plague be somewhat dark, and the plague spread not in the skin, the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is but a scab, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean.
Right? So he see if that thing starts to scab up, he be like, all right, man, that wasn't nothing. Because you know, sometimes you ever fail, you know what I'm saying, and then scrape your arm, and it go down, and what color is the meat?
A little white.
You know what I'm saying? You ever seen somebody get into a fight and somebody brag out mouth, bust that boy head to the white meat? You know what I'm talking about? Sorry, my boy's a little violent. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? He bust his head to the white meat. That means you cracked him upside his head right here. You know what I'm saying? You know, you get to punching somebody and sometimes they skin split, like right here. You know what I'm saying? Usually like right here or right here where the bones are, they skin is split. And then you open it up, they leaking, but when they get done leaking, it's white. If they split far enough. You know what I'm saying? I busted his head to the white meat. Right? So you got that white meat. But what happened? Is that going to spread?
No.
No, I think just going to scab up. You're going to get a little scab. So what's going to happen when you get a scab? What color it start to turn?
It get dark.
It get dark. So the priest said, look, 7 days you sit there. Did it spread? No, it didn't spread. Right? All right, another 7 days then. Get your butt back in there. It didn't spread. You look good. So get your butt back in there another 7. When I come back after another 7 days, now 14 days, I look at it. Guess what? It's a little dark. Oh, man, you good. Get your butt out. Whoa, hold on. Don't go too far because look what else he got to do. He thought he was just off scot-free. He ran out of the dark room like, finally, go home and see my family, right? He running out thinking he's scot-free. Watch the priest got to tell him.
And he shall wash his clothes and be clean. But if the scab spread much abroad the skin, after that he hath been seen of the priest for his cleansing, he shall be seen of the priest again.
Now listen, you bring your butt back if that thing starts spreading. Now I said it's just a scab, but if it starts spreading, you bring your butt right back here. You hear me? That's what he got to tell him. He thought he was just out. He was like, huh? No, no. You know what I'm saying? You come back, you know what I'm saying? You bring your butt back if that thing starts spreading again now. Right? Keep going.
And if the priest see that, behold, the scab spreads in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprosy.
Yep.
When the plague of leprosy is in a man, then he shall be brought unto the priest. And the priest shall see him, and behold, if the rising be white in the skin, and it have turned the hair white, and there be quick raw flesh in the rising, it is an old leprosy in the skin of his flesh, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean, and shall not shut him up, for he is unclean. And if a leprosy break out abroad,
You see what he said? He shall what?
Not shut him up, for he is unclean.
He's saying when you see it, and that thing is raw flesh, and it's bubbling up above the skin, and it turn your hair white, he said ain't no question about it. Ain't no reason to lock that person up. You locking them up to kind of see is it leprosy or not. I don't want it to spread if it is leprosy. You know what I'm saying? Is it leprosy or not? No. That's definitely leprosy if it got those signs. If it's just a white spot, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it got a little white hair on it. It's probably leprosy. Let me lock you up. Let's see if it spread. Once that thing is spreading and it's bubbling up above the skin and it turn the hair white, that's definitely leprosy. I ain't got to lock you up. Your butt just got to get out the camp. Watch this.
And if a leprosy break out abroad in the skin, the leprosy cover all the skin of him that has the plague from his head even to his foot.
The leprosy break out and it spread across his entire body. Watch this.
Wheresoever the priest looks, then the priest shall consider, and behold, if the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean that has the plague. It is all turned white. He is clean.
Right? If his whole body turned white, he go from a black man, right? And it spread across his whole body and he end up a white man, right? With pale skin because of this leprosy. He said, well, if that's the case, guess what?
He's clean.
You clean now. That leprosy and took over your whole body. Ain't nothing else it can do. You good. Go on. Right? Keep going.
But when raw flesh appears in him, he shall be unclean.
But in that same person, if the flesh become raw, right? He's painting a picture of what the real problem is, right? He's locking people up or sending them out the camp to keep away from this raw skin, right? It's not about the color of the skin, really, right? The color of the skin is not the problem. It's when you have this raw skin, that's the real sickness, right? Now, the coloration of the skin could be indicative that the raw skin is about to happen. So you got to be precautious. But he's saying, look, if that coloration, that discoloration ends up covering the whole body, he's saying that's not a threat. That's something else. You know what I'm saying? Them people now, they call it what, alopecia? You know what I'm saying? Michael Jackson say he had that thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Nobody believe that mess. But that's what he say, though. You know what I'm saying? He say, you know what I'm saying? So like Michael Jackson, if what he said was true, his butt would have been locked away at first. You know what I'm saying? And after it covered the whole thing, be like, get your butt out there and moonwalk then. Let's do it.
My little man John might have had it. Remember my man John when I used to bring John around? Yeah, he had it on his chin and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
My stepmom.
What? She got leprosy?
She has the stuff. I forget what it's big. Yeah.
Is that one?
That's what it is. Vitiligo, not alopecia. What's alopecia? That's the bald head, right?
Hair.
That's the bald head.
It's like when like you dark, but you got like light
She's already
white patches.
light, but she has a lot of white patches on her after she.
Oh, I see her. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But what-
unique sister too had. You know what I'm saying?
But most of them people like that, they born that way, right? This would be something that, you know, your skin red, then all of a sudden it start to change, right? It still happens in the world today. You know what I'm saying? It still happens, but your skin start to change, right? So let's see. Keep going. Let's see.
I forgot what I was.
Somebody help him out. What verse we is on? That's all we had is 14?
Yeah. But when raw flesh appears in him, he shall be unclean. And the priest shall see the raw flesh and pronounce him to be unclean, for the raw flesh is unclean. It is a leprosy.
That's right.
Or if the raw flesh turn again and be changed unto white, he shall come unto the priest. And the priest shall see him, and behold, if the plague be turned into white, then the priest shall pronounce him clean that has the plague. He is clean. The flesh also in which even the skin thereof was a boil and is healed, and in the place of the boil there be a white rising or a bright spot, white and somewhat reddish, and it be showed to the priest. And if when the priest see it, behold, it be in sight lower than the skin, and the hair thereof be turned white, the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a plague of leprosy broken out of the boil. But if the priest look on it, and behold, there be no white hairs therein, and if it be not lower than the skin, but be somewhat dark, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. And if it spread much abroad in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a plague. But if the bright spot stay in its place and spread not, it is a burning boil, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. Or if there be any flesh in the skin whereof there is a hot burning, and the quick flesh that burns have a white bright spot, somewhat reddish or white, then the priest shall look upon it, and behold, if the hair in the bright spot be turned white, and it be in sight deeper than the skin, it is a leprosy, broken out of the burning. Wherefore the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is the plague of leprosy. But if the priest look on it, and behold, there be no white hair in the bright spot, and it be no lower than the other skin, but be somewhat dark, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. And the priest shall look upon him the 7th day, and if it be spread much abroad in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is the plague of leprosy. And if the bright spot stay in its place and spread not in the skin, but is somewhat dark, it is a rising of the burning. And the priest shall pronounce him clean, for it is an inflammation of the burning. If a man or a woman
So you see so far, he's separating the problem from just a skin issue, right? Regular little skin, we ain't worried. One is a plague of leprosy. That thing start to get raw. It start bubbling up. It's deeper than your skin. It got white hair. That's a problem, right? You got your little scab, little boil. That thing burn a little bit. That's ain't nothing. But you know what I'm saying? We ain't worried about that. It ain't spreading. Okay, we good.
red juice out of it.
Right? Keep going.
Like what Shanice got. Okay. Hurry up. If a man or a woman has a plague upon the head or the beard, then the priest shall see the plague, and behold, if it be in sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it a yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a dry scald, even a leprosy upon the head or beard.
Right, look at this. It's a dry what?
Scald.
Even a leprosy upon the what?
The head or beard.
Watch this. I like this part.
And if the priest look on the plague of the skull, and behold, it be not in sight deeper than the skin, and there is no black hair in it, then the priest shall shut him up that has the plague of the skull 7 days. And in the 7th day the priest shall look on the plague, and behold, if the skull spread not, and there be in it no yellow hair, the skull be not in sight deeper than the skin, he shall be shaven, but the skull shall he not shave. And the priest shall shut him up that has the skull 7 days more.
So he got to cut all his hair off, right? He's going to be shaving, right? Keep going.
And in the 7th
but that
day,
spot is not going to be shaved, right? So imagine I got this little spot here. You know what I'm saying? Got yellow hairs coming out of it. You know what I'm saying? My skin messed up right here, right? He said, we shaving everything else except for that little spot. And then what we going to do to him?
Lock him up 7 days more.
So now I shave everything. Just imagine why he's telling them to do it this way. Shave everything except for that one spot. Lock it up for 7 days. Then what else happened?
All right. Okay. And in the 7th day the priest shall look on the plague, and behold, if the skull spread not, and there be in it no yellow hair, the skull be not in sight deeper than the skin, he shall be shaven. But the skull he shall not shave, and the priest shall shut him up that has the skull 7 days more. And in the 7th day the priest shall look on the skull, and behold, if the skull be not spread in the skin, nor be in sight deeper than the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean. But if the skull spread much in the skin after his cleansing, then the priest shall look on him, and behold, if the skull be spread in the skin, the priest shall not seek for the yellow hair. He is unclean.
That's right.
But if the skull be in his sight at a stay, and there is black hair grown up therein, the skull is healed, he is clean, and the priest shall pronounce him clean.
So now he's shaving the hair so that he can see new hair grow, right? And if the new hair is growing back black and it don't look like it's spreading, then it's like, okay, well, you good. That boy clean with a patch in his head, right? Keep going.
I don't. Okay, where was that? But if the skull be in his sight at a stay, oh my bad. If a man also or a woman have in the skin of their flesh bright spots, even white bright spots, then the priest shall look, and behold, if the bright spots in the skin of their flesh be darkish white, it is a freckled spot that grows in the skin. He is clean.
Right? So that's the kind of stuff that we were just talking about. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Some people like, I got this little spot right here. You know what I'm saying? Where's that? I got this little, I feel like I used to have it. Where's that? I don't know. What happened to my little spot, baby?
Son cooked it.
That thing gone. That's how you know I got good skin. You know what I'm saying? I just get rid of them things. You know what I'm talking about? I make a little oil right now. You know what I'm saying? A little oil. Just put that thing on there, boy. Just get rid of everything. My barber, he cut me. Y'all saw it. Y'all remember he cut me last week? No signs of it, huh? No signs of it, huh?
That's the wrong sheet, babe.
It was right here. But it was right here. No signs of it, huh? You ain't got it on no side. Look.
Your glasses a little tight, though.
That's all right. That's good skin. You know what I'm talking about? You can't do nothing with that. You know what I'm saying? Can't do nothing with that. I'll tell y'all, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Send in a personal prayer package. I'll send you some more. You know what I'm talking about?
Bye-bye prayer package.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'll send you a little bit of oil. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Heal you right on up. Now, so you look at it. You look at it, and he's trying to make sure that the people understand the difference between, you know, just a small, he called it a small freckle spot. Right? Sometimes, you know, we just born with different spots on us, or we got the alopecia or the vitiligo or whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, we good. You know what I'm saying? He all right. He like, oh, that ain't nothing but that's just a freckle spot. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Just a birthmark, as we'd call it today. Right? Keep going. Watch this.
And the man whose hair is falling off his head, he is bald.
Look, if the man fall, look, he's trying to just make sure we know. The man who got his hair, you know what I'm saying? It just started falling off his head. Listen, the man is just bald. I love that part. Look, the book just call it out. Listen, he just bald. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Why y'all judging him? That's what they looking at. Like, why y'all judging him? The book say that's law though. Do you believe that? That's in the law. You know what I'm saying? Like, he clean. He just bald. Y'all, leave him alone. Because you know how we would have did. We would have shut his butt up. As soon as LeBron James came around, like, get your darn. If you don't get your darn butt in the darn, lock him up 7 darn days. That might be the thing. Right? That might be the darn leprosy in the center of the darn forehead. Goodness great. Watch this. Look.
That's alopecia.
I think what they had.
That alopecia.
What the dude Rasheed Wallace had his hair like.
Oh, sheesh. He gonna talk about. I'm gonna tell you. Look, he gonna tell you exactly what LeBron and Rasheed got. Watch it.
And he that has his hair falling off from the part of his own head toward his face, he is forehead bald, yet he is clean.
That's what these boys got. They forehead bald, but he what?
Clean.
Leave them boys alone. That's what he trying to tell you. He's like, man, they going through enough. Leave them boys alone. You ever seen somebody with a big old, they darn cow legs look like this? You know what I'm saying? Just come on down the side, their whole darn hair all the way to the back, just right here. Thing like to a boomerang just darn hit him, just bow. You know what I'm talking about? That thing cold, that forehead, that was the book called.
Shave him all
The
off.
book called it forehead bald.
I ain't even gonna try to say that thing. Just shave him off.
That's the book. That ain't lawful to walk around and tell people that. You know what I'm saying? But you forehead bald. You clean though. That's book. Book said you clean though.
Go ahead and get you some shoe polish.
You know what I'm talking about? You gotta do it. Watch what it say next.
And if there be in the bald head or bald forehead a white reddish sore, it is a leprosy sprung up in his bald head or his bald forehead. Then the priest shall look upon it, and behold, if the rising of the sore be white reddish in his bald head, or in his bald forehead, as the leprosy appears in the skin of the flesh, he is a leprous man, he is unclean. The priest shall pronounce him utterly unclean. His plague is in his head. And the leper in whom the plague is, his clothes shall be rent, and his head bare, and
Right?
he shall put a
So his
covering on
clothes-
his upper lip.
Anybody who is found with leprosy, his clothes shall be ripped, right? So he tears his clothes, and what else?
And his head bare.
And his head can't have no covering on it. This is what happens when you got leprosy. And then what's the last thing that
And
happens?
he shall put a covering upon his upper lip.
What is that? You gotta wear a mask. Where do you think these people got it from? Because the Most High God was trying to stop the spread of leprosy. He said, if you got leprosy, tear your clothes up, right? Then make sure your head don't have a covering. Make sure your head can get some air, and put a covering over your darn face. Put a mask on. Right? Watch this. Keep going.
And shall cry, unclean, unclean. Mm-hmm. All the days wherein the plague shall be in him.
Why would he be crying unclean, unclean?
Because you want, don't come near me.
That's right. I don't want this thing to
Save
spread.
yourself.
Right? So it's just like what they were talking about with leopard. I mean, with what's the thing called?
Corona.
The coronavirus.
Omarion.
Put your mask on. Wash your hands. The same stuff that Most High God about to tell us right here. Right? Wash your hands. And then what else they say? They got little apps, right? They try to put apps on our phones that'll tell us when you coming near somebody. That's what they envision. When you coming near somebody unclean, it'll alert you. You around somebody that might have a coronavirus. That's a more technological way of just saying unclean, unclean. That's the purpose of what he is doing. Right? Keep going. Watch this.
All the days wherein the plague shall be in him, he shall be defiled.
Mm-hmm.
He is unclean. He shall dwell alone. Without the camp shall his habitation be.
He got to be by himself. That's quarantined. Right? All the days that he has the leprosy, he shall do it without the camp. Right? Keep going.
The garment also that the plague of leprosy is in,
What you
whether
gotta do
it
to
be
it?
a woolen garment or a linen garment, whether it be a warp or wolf or linen or a woolen, whether whether in a skin or anything made of skin, and in
He
the
said, I don't
plague
care if
be
you got
greenish or
leather, you
reddish
got
in the
silk.
garment,
Go ahead.
or in the skin, either in the warp or in the wolf or in anything of skin, in the plague of leprosy, and shall be shown unto the priest, and the priest shall look upon the plague and shut up it that has the plague 7 days, and he shall look on the plague of the seventh day. If the plague be spread in the garment, either in the warp or the wolf or the skin or any work that is made of the skin, the plague is a fretting leprosy, it is unclean. He shall therefore burn that garment, whether a warp or wolf, in the woolen or in linen, or anything of skin wherein the plague is, for it is a fitting leprosy. It shall be burnt in the fire. Mm-hmm. And the priest shall look, and behold, the plague be not spread in the garment, either the warp or the wolf or anything of skin. Then the priest shall command that they wash the thing wherein the plague is, and he shall shut it up 7 days more.
All right? So even the clothes got to go through the same treatment. Right? It might end up getting burned if it looked like it is actually leprosy on the clothes. All right? Keep going.
And the priest shall look on the plague after that it is washed, and behold, if the plague have not changed its color, and the plague be not spread, it is unclean. Thou shalt burn it in the fire. Mm-hmm. It is fret inward, whether it be bare within or without. And if the priest look, and behold, the plague be somewhat dark after the washing of it, then he shall rend it out of the garment, out of the skin, and out of the warp, or out of the wolf. And if it appears still in the garment, either in the warp or in the wolf or anything of skin, it is a spreading plague. You shall burn that wherein the plague is with fire. Mm-hmm. And the garment, either warp or wolf, or whatsoever thing of skin it be, thou shalt wash it. Thou shalt wash if the plague be departed from them. Then it shall be washed the second time and shall be clean. This is the law of the plague of leprosy in a garment or of a woolen linen, either in a warp or wolf or anything of skins, to pronounce it clean or to pronounce it unclean.
All right, so now let's go to chapter 14. All right, so we just dealt with leprosy in a person, leprosy in that person's clothes. All right? Now we're going to talk a little bit about the sacrifices, and then we're going to talk about leprosy in other objects.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, This shall be the law of the leper in the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought unto the priest. And the priest shall go forth out of the camp, And the priest shall look, and behold, if the plague of leprosy be healed in the leper, then shall the priest command to take for him that is to be cleansed 2 birds alive and clean, and cedar wood and scarlet and hyssop.
So notice that the priest himself has to take these for the leper. Why?
Because you got to make him clean.
Because he's not, remember, he's outside the camp dwelling by himself. So even if it's now pronounced like, okay, he probably ain't got leprosy no more, he's still unclean until the sacrifices can clean him up. So that means the priest got to do the sacrifices for him. Normally, you would bring your own sacrifice and kill it.
No, you can't go
You stay your butt over there, you know what I'm saying? We got to finish this ceremony first, then we'll let you know when it's time. You know what I'm talking about? Keep going.
Then shall the priest command to take for him that is to be cleansed 2 birds alive and clean.
2 birds.
And cedar wood and scarlet and hyssop.
So you see, this is a very different sacrifice. This one's very special, right? 2 birds, alive and what?
Alive and clean. And cedar wood and scarlet and hyssop.
So you did cedar wood, scarlet, red, and hyssop. Keep going.
And the priest shall command the one of the birds be killed in an earthen vessel over running water.
Right? One bird got to be killed, right? Over running water. All this testify to Messiah, right? It's way too much to even get into with all this stuff, right? All this testify to Messiah, right? So you have one bird that get killed in running water. What else?
As for the living bird, he shall take it in the cedar wood, and the scarlet and hyssop, and shall dip them in the living bird, them and the living bird in the blood,
right,
of the bird that was killed over the running water.
So now the bird that was killed, you know what I'm saying, over running water got blood. Then you take the other one, well, along with the cedar wood and the hyssop, and you dip them inside of that.
Over running water.
That don't sound familiar to nobody? Let's see if we can put it together.
So when the Messiah was on the cross, of the wood,
what kind of wood?
Cedar wood, he said, I thirst. They gave him vinegar.
And what else?
On hyssop, right? Blood coming from the crown, right? Then when he died, they was like, oh, he's dead. They poked him with a stick, and running water came out his stomach.
He the 2 birds.
Alive and dead, right? He died, but also got his life.
Keep going, watch this.
And he shall sprinkle upon him that is to be cleansed from the leprosy 7 times, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose into the open field. And he that is to be cleansed shall wash his clothes and shave off his hair, and wash himself in water, that he may be clean. And after that he shall come into the camp, and shall tarry abroad out of his tent 7 days. But it shall be on the 7th day that he shall shave all his hair off his head, and his beard, and his eyebrows. Even all his hair he shall shave off. And he shall wash his clothes. Also he shall wash his flesh in water, and shall be clean.
Right? So you got to wash up. After that, you clean. Right? Keep going.
And on the 8th day shall take 2 he-lambs without blemish, and 1 ewe-lamb of the first year without blemish, 3/10 deals of fine flour for a meat offering mingled with oil, and 1 log of oil. And the priest that makes him clean shall present the man that is to be made clean in those things before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall take 1 he-lamb and offer him for a trespass offering, and the log of oil, and wave them for a wave offering before the Lord.
Right? So in this one, he called for a trespass offering. All right? Keep going.
And he shall slay the lamb in the place where he shall kill the sin offering and the burnt offering in the holy place.
Right.
Whereas the sin
so you got
offering,
a sin offering, burnt offering, and a trespass offering for leprosy. Right? I just got sick. You know what I'm talking about? Sin offering, trespass offering, and a burnt offering. Keep going.
Whereas the sin offering,
and then you got the 2 birds that got that special, sacrifice.
For as the sin offering is the priest's, so is the trespass offering. It is most holy. And the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and the priest shall put it upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of him, upon his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot.
Right? So now the blood from the offering, he put it on the ear, the thumb, and the big toe. We call it the great toe, the big toe. Right? Keep going.
And the priest shall take
Remember, he all bald. He ain't got no, He ain't got no eyebrows either. So after that, he just put it on his ear, his thumb, and on his great toe.
And the priest shall take some of the log of oil and pour it unto the palm of his own left hand.
Right? So then the priest take the oil, after he put the blood on him, he take the oil, he pour it onto the left hand. He got to rub that thing in, right? Watch that.
and shall sprinkle of the oil with his finger 7 times before the Lord. And the rest of the oil that is in his hand shall the priest put upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot, upon the blood of the trespass offering.
Right? So then he had the blood on there, and then on top of that blood, he put the oil. Right? What else?
And the remnant of the oil that is in the priest's hands he shall pour upon the head of him that is to be cleansed.
So now he anoints him. Right? Pours on his head.
And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord. And the priest shall offer the sin offering and make atonement for him that is to be cleansed from his uncleanness. And afterward he shall kill the burnt offering. And the priest shall offer the burnt offering and the meat offering upon the altar, and the priest shall make an atonement for him, and he shall be clean. And if he be poor and cannot get so much, then he shall take 1 lamb for a trespass offering to be waved, to make an atonement for him, and 1/10 deal of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, and a log of oil. And 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, such as he is able to get. And the one shall be a sin offering, and the other a burnt offering. And he shall bring them on the 8th day for his cleansing unto the priest, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord. And the priest shall take of the lamb of the trespass offering and the log of oil, and the priest shall wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. And he shall kill the lamb of the trespass offering, and the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and put it upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of the right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. And the priest shall pour of the oil into the palm of his own left hand. And the priest shall sprinkle with his right finger some of the oil that is in his left hand 7 times before the Lord. And the priest shall put on the oil that is in his hand upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot, upon the place of the blood of the trespass offering. And the rest of the oil that is in the priest's hands he shall put upon the head of him that is to be cleansed, to make an atonement before the Lord. And he shall offer the one of the turtle doves or the young pigeons, such as he can get, even such as he is able to get, the one for a sin offering, and the one for a burnt offering, with the meat offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed before the Lord. This is the law of him in whom the plague of leprosy, whose hand is not able to get that which pertains to his cleansing. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, when you be come into the land of Canaan, which I gave to you for a possession, and put the plague of leprosy in a house of the land of your possession, and he that owns the house shall come and tell the priest, saying, it seems to me there is, as it were, a plague in the house. Then the priest shall command that they empty the house before the priests go in to see the plague, that all that is in the house be not made unclean, and afterward the priest shall go in to see the house. And he shall look on the plague, and behold, if the plague be in the walls of the house with hollow stakes, greenish or reddish, which in sight are lower than the wall, then the priest shall go out of the house of the door of the house, and shut up the house 7 days. And the priest shall come again the 7th day, and shall look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the walls of the house, then the priest shall command that they take away the stones in which the plague is, and they shall cast him into an unclean place without the city. And he shall cause the house to be scraped within round about, that they shall pour out the dust that they scrape off outside the city into an unclean place. And they shall take other stones and put them in the place of those stones. And when he shall take other mortar and shall plaster the house. And if the plague come again and break out in the house, after that he has taken away the stones, and after he had scraped the house, and after it is plastered, then the priest shall come and look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the house, it is a fretting leprosy. In the house it is unclean. He shall break down the house, the stones and the timber, and all the mortar of the house, and he shall carry them forth out of the city into the unclean place. Moreover, he that goes into the house, all the while that it is shut up, shall be unclean until the evening. And he that lies in the house shall wash his clothes, and he that eats in the house shall wash his clothes. And if the priest shall come in and look upon it, and behold, the plague has not spread in the house after the house was plastered, then the priest shall pronounce the house clean, because the plague is healed. And he shall take to cleanse the house 2 birds, and cedar wood, and scarlet and hyssop. And he shall kill the one of the birds in an earthen vessel over running water. And he shall take the cedar wood and hyssop, and the scarlet and the living bird, and dip them in the blood of the slain bird and in the running water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. And he shall cleanse the house with the blood of the bird, and with the running water, and with the living bird, and with the cedar wood, and with hyssop, and with the scarlet. But he shall let go the living bird out of the city into the open fields and make an atonement for the house. It shall be clean. This is the law for all manner of plague of leprosy and scald, and for the leprosy of the garment and of a house, and for a rising, and for a scab, and for a bright spot, to teach when it is unclean and when it is clean. This is the law of leprosy.
All right. So he breaks down the whole law of leprosy and all the different
What if that
facets
thing was
that.
like a real cracking, big old nice house?
Yeah, buddy.
You take all them stones down. Ooh,
You
man.
gotta take that thing apart, man. Take it to an unclean place. Yeah, it's a cold game. All right. But you see, he break down all the different facets that we could recognize leprosy, and then gives us instruction on how to judge it. Right. In this same way, it testifies of Yahushua and his relationship with us. Right. That sin and the way that sin spreads, you know what I'm saying, from one person to another person, and how we have to isolate ourselves, right, in order to get rid of this sin, right? And then when we return, we got to take the steps to be right with the Most High God. And then by becoming right with the Most High God, he gives us that path, right? He gives us that way, that sacrifice, so to speak, that we need to make, all right? So let's keep going.
He doesn't need help.
What we got now? Chapter what, 15?
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say to them, when a man has a running issue out of his flesh, because of his issue, he is unclean.
Right? If a man got a running issue out of his flesh, or issue with just there's just something that's spilling out of him, right? It could be blood, it could be pus, it could be something, right? So if a man just got something that is just coming out of it, it's spilling out of him, what happened?
He is unclean.
He is unclean.
And shall be. And
Don't nobody talk about this part. They always talk about the women, right? Oh no, a woman on the period, you know what I'm saying? She unclean. They always talk about that. Don't nobody talk about this
can't
part.
sit on the couch.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Your nasty butt got a darn boil in your darn toe, and that thing pussing out, you just stuck it in your sock, ain't tell nobody. Your butt unclean too, you nasty butt. Sit your butt down. Can't nobody sit on your couch either.
Or even, you know what I'm saying, when you lay with your wife, you know what I'm saying?
Now you gonna let the book tell it. We're gonna get into it.
And this shall be his uncleanness in his issue. Whether his flesh run with his issue or his flesh be stopped from his issue, it is his uncleanness.
That's right.
Every bed where he lie that he has the issue is unclean, and everything where he sits shall be unclean. And whatsoever he touch his bed, whosoever touch his bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening.
Now we look at it, we be like, goodness gracious, all these, ain't that what we feel? All these rules, goodness gracious. But what did he tell you though? What did he just tell you to do?
Get clean.
Take a darn bath.
Wash it.
That's all he told you, but you take a bath every darn night. That's why I don't be listening to these people. No, a woman on her period, you know what I'm saying? You ain't even supposed to sit on the couch. What happened if you do sit on the couch? What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, you're just unclean. You got to wash your body.
Take a darn bath.
Be clean until the evening. You know? Unclean until the evening.
That's it. Just take a bath.
And you know, it's always uncool until God tell you to do it.
That's it.
If you tell somebody you don't eat pork for like health reasons, you know what I'm saying? They're like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, pork is very
But if you
unhealthy.
like,
You're
no,
right.
I don't eat pork because God said it's unclean.
Oh, I love me some pork. I don't know nothing about you.
Yeah, so, you know.
You know what I'm saying? You tell somebody, I'm going to stop eating all meat for this diet. Good for you. Tell somebody, I'm just going to stop eating some meat because the book say don't do it. I don't know. I don't see you do all that stuff. I don't know. I don't eat meat. I love meat. Shut up. Nobody asked you. Right? But that's how it works. It's all about who. Right? We serve Most High God that's hated by these people. All right? Keep going. Watch this. I got to get Shanice out of here. I need her to wake up early. I know 8 o'clock ain't nothing for you, huh? Please.
And he that sits on anything whereon he sat, that has the issue, shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. And he that touches the flesh of him that has the issue shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. And he that has the issue spit upon him that is clean, then he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening.
So no matter what you do, guess what? Take a bath, take your butt to sleep. You be good when you wake up. Right? Keep going.
And what saddle soever he rides upon that has the issue shall be unclean. And whosoever touch anything that was under him shall be unclean until the evening. And he that bears any of those things shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. And whosoever he touches that has the issue and has not rinsed his hands in water he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. And the vessel of earth that he touches, which has the issue, shall be broken, and every vessel of wood shall be rinsed in water. And when he that has an issue is cleansed of his issue, then he shall number to himself 7 days for his cleansing, and wash his clothes and bathe his flesh in running water, and shall be clean.
All right, so a man, if he got an issue, he got to wait 7 days too. They don't talk about that. Look, these boys, law keepers. Have you ever heard them talk about this? Boys don't know no darn law.
You know,
Boys be using the law improperly. Always targeting women with their stuff. You know, they weak men. You know, they weak men. Let me tell you something. Oh, man. I don't like these guys, man. I just don't like them, man. These are weak men. Only thing they're concerned about is the flesh. Talking these women into polygamy and doing all this weird stuff that they into. Right? This stuff is weak. It's weak. And this is the way that they do it. They start pulling out little sections of the book, and you know what I'm saying? Now they got women, every time they hear something about the book about them, women got to take it the wrong way. They feel uncomfortable because they know that men have used this stuff against them. So now they got their guard up. Now I can't even teach a woman the darn Bible because she got her guard up the whole time thinking I'm trying to do something to her. I'm trying to do nothing to you. I'm trying to teach you the book. Care nothing about you feel about darn getting pregnant and having a darn baby. You still unclean. Ain't nothing personal about that. Guess what? The man is too. You get you a darn pussy, nasty boy. You sit your butt down for 7 darn days just like you had blood
but
coming
if
out.
you got a wife, and the book say you touch anything that's unclean, you're unclean. So if your wife's unclean, you touch
unclean
your wife,
too.
You unclean. You sit on that couch she sat on, you unclean.
Yeah. And guess what? What that mean?
Take it on that. How you gonna get around that, bro? Like, how you get around that?
Ain't even a big
Your
deal.
wife
I
on
don't
her
know
cycle.
everybody out here tripping.
Your wife on her cycle, she sat on everything in the house, and you came right after her, sat down and watched TV too. Like, come on.
Unclean.
Touched her, you know, all that. You gave her a kiss today?
Unclean. Better get your butt in the bath tonight. That's it.
Touch your baby.
You be all right. Unclean. You know what I'm saying? Keep going. Watch this.
And on the 8th day he shall take 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons and come before the Lord unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation and give them unto the priest. And the priest shall offer them, the one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord for his issue.
Right? So sin offering and burnt offering in the form of a bird. Right? Keep going.
And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him,
That's
then-
talking about his semen, right?
Exactly.
They come out of him. What else?
Then he shall wash all his flesh in water and be unclean until the evening.
Every time you get one of them things off, look, every single time that thing come out, guess what? Your butt unclean.
Even in involuntary way.
Why don't have you heard this one talk?
You had a.
Why they don't be talking about this one?
If you had like a wet dream, you just woke
Oh
up.
no, he gonna let the book tell him. Watch this. He gonna get right into the wet dream. Watch this.
And, and every garment and every skin whereon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water and be unclean until the evening.
The nasty butt. You gonna put it right there in the sheet. Get your darn butt up and clean that darn sheet. Take your darn bath.
I used to wake up and think I was sweating. You know what I'm saying? And then I found out what that thing was. I was like, gross. Like, ew.
my little nasty butt. I knew exactly what
That thing
happened.
was gross.
I woke up like
What
this.
last night? Like,
You know what I'm saying? I knew exactly what that was. I was like, whoo.
when I learned what it was, I was like, oh, that's just
A
gross.
heck of a dream.
Man.
Yeah, buddy. Keep going.
The woman also with whom men shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water and be unclean until the evening.
That's right.
So you laying next to your wife, she not on her cycle, but your butt have a wet dream. You the one that made everybody unclean.
Right? Or y'all doing the do.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? And she involved in it, guess what? Y'all both unclean. You made her unclean. They never talk about this one though. I just never heard, I didn't heard them talk about the women you on your cycle, you did that. I never heard them talk about the men like you making the woman unclean. Okay. Boy don't know no darn law.
And everything that she lies upon in
Most
her
of these boys that be
separation-
trying to teach the law, they ain't even read this stuff.
That's great.
They didn't even take no time to read it. You know what they did? They learned it from somebody else who didn't read it, from somebody else who didn't read it, who learned it from somebody else who probably read it but chose what he wanted to out of it. It's a mess. Keep going.
And if a woman have an issue and her issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days, and whosoever touches her shall be unclean until the evening. And everything that she lies upon in her separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she sits upon shall be unclean. And whosoever touches her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water.
So who did he address first?
Until the evening. The man.
He addressed the men first. Same language, same idea, same stuff, but it came first with the men, right? Keep going.
And whosoever touches anything that she sat upon shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. And if it be on her bed or anything whereupon she sits, when he touches it, he shall be unclean until the evening. And if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and all the bed wherein he lies shall be unclean.
Yeah, your nasty butt do it the wrong time. You got to share in her 7 days. You know what I'm saying? You got to sit. You know what I'm saying? You sit 7 days. There ain't no quick bath and I get it done. Nah, you got to sit your butt down. You know what I'm saying? Sit your butt down 7 days. You unclean your nasty self, freaky deaky darn self.
Yeah,
just cut that stuff out. Keep going.
And if a woman have an issue of her blood many days out of the time of her separation, or if it run beyond the time of her separation, all the days of the issue of her uncleanness shall be as the days of her separation. She shall be unclean. Every bed where she lies, all the days of her issue shall be unto her as the bed of her separation. And whatsoever she sits upon shall be unclean as the uncleanness of her separation. And whosoever touches those things shall be unclean, and shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the evening. But if she be cleansed of her issue, then she shall number herself 7 days, and after that she shall be clean. And on the 8th day she shall take unto her 2 turtles or 2 young pigeons, and bring them unto the priest to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall offer one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for her before the Lord for the issue of her uncleanness. Thus shall ye separate the children of Israel from their uncleanness, that they die not in their uncleanness when they defile my tabernacle that is among them. This is the law of him that has an issue, of him whose seed goes from him.
This is the law of him that has an issue, of him whose seed does what?
Goes from him. And is defiled therewith. And of her that is sick of her flowers, and of him that has an issue of the man and of the woman, and of him that lies with her which is unclean.
That's book.
So you see when
he said, I get all of them. I ain't just talking about it. When I get everybody.
So when Moses was talking about when it was on Mount Sinai, he was like, don't go near your wives. God about to appear unto you today. Yeah, don't mess around today, y'all. You know, be clean. God about to start speaking.
All right, that's the end of the chapter?
Yeah.
Let me see. What's the next chapter? What, how it start? Day of Atonement. Okay, no. We'll grab Day of Atonement next week. That's a good stopping point.
That's about later on when it talks about they won't be given into marriage and stuff, like, because all this stuff gonna be coming back too.
That's a good point.
What you mean?
That's a good point. Like them not giving them the marriage in the resurrection, because these things can make you unclean. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of it that way.
Possibly. Yeah. Any questions? All right, well, let's pray out.